Caitlin Clark and Nafisa Collier are named your all-star captains.
Caitlin Clark earned 1,293,526 votes.
Caitlin Clark was just named WNBA All-Star Captain.
Caitlin Clark effect in full effect. I remember her and Nafisa Collier was only about 100,000 votes apart.
So the two best players in the WNBA, at least to me, are all-star captains. That being Caitlin Clark and Nafisa Collier.
She's out there getting 1.29 million votes.
I just want to personally congratulate you on being named captain for the 20.
2025 WNBA All-Star Game captains have been announced. They are none other than Caitlin Clark, your leading vote getter.
What do you know? Caitlin Clark does it again. Shout out to Nafisa Collier too. Caitlin Clark and Nisa Collier are named your all-star captains. Well deserved. And this moment is just another chapter in her incredible journey.
Well, what do you know? What do you know? Caitlin Clark does it again. Shout out to Nafisa Collier. Caitlin Clark and Nafisa Collier are named your all-star captains. Well deserved, well deserved. Caitlin Clark is the GOAT. Nafisa Collier is playing like the best player in the league right now.
Caitlin Clark has been named a 2025 WNBA All-Star Captain. And not just that, she's the leading vote getter with 1,293,526 votes. That's more than 12 times the top vote count from 2023, where Aja Wilson only pulled just over 95,000. This isn't just impressive, it's a total transformation. The numbers prove it. Caitlin Clark has shifted the popularity and attention of the entire league.
2025 WNBA All-Star Game captains have been announced. They are none other than Caitlin Clark, your leading vote getter, and Nafisa Collier, who will be a captain for the first time in her career. Those two go back to 2023. The leading vote getter was Aja Wilson with just over 95,000 votes. Fast forward to 2025, Caitlin Clark earned 1,293,526 votes. That represents an over 12 times increase. That's just one small example. I think you can point out a Caitlin Clark changing the league's popularity and trajectory for the better.
It's a perfect example of how Caitlin Clark raises the profile of the entire WNBA. Nafisa Collier, who came second in fan voting, received 1.1 million votes. That's the same number the top 30 vote getters combined received back in 2023. Before Clark entered the league, such numbers were unheard of. Now it's the new standard.
All right, perfect example of how Caitlin Clark raises the profile of the entire WNBA. Nafisa Collier, who finished second in All-Star fan voting, the Clark got 1.1 million votes. In 2023, before Clark entered the WNBA, the top 30 All-Star vote getters combined to receive the exact same. Wow.
Even with Clark missing 7 or 8 games, she still received over 1.2 million votes. That's how strong her impact is. Just last year, the top vote totals were in the hundreds of thousands. This year, multiple players crossed 1 million, all thanks to the Caitlin Clark effect. She didn't just raise her own profile, she lifted the whole league's visibility.
Caitlin Clark was just named WNBA All-Star Captain. And it's crazy because Caitlin Clark missed like 7 or 8 games, but it don't matter. It's crazy that both cleared 1 million. Also, Nafisa Collier cleared 1 million too. Yep, she did. Nafisa Collier had 1 million votes. Man, it's just crazy how far this league has come within this last short period of time. Like, they're getting millions of votes. I remember last year reporting on this thing. They was only getting like 300, 400,000 votes. And for Nafisa Collier to be over 1 million as well just shows you the impact of Caitlin Clark, the impact that she has brought to this game, turning the casual fan into CC fans, man. But
Caitlin Clark has broken all the WNBA All-Star voting mechanisms. Back-to-back years, she's led the league in fan votes. It's not even shocking anymore. Everyone saw this coming. The world reacted, the fans voted in waves, and Clark walked away as the undisputed leader yet again.
this should come in no surprise, man. Caitlin Clark broke all voting mechanisms. Now, this should come as no surprise. Caitlin Clark set the WNBA All-Star votes on fire. yet another year, back-to-back years, Caitlin Clark has received the most WNBA votes to be named an All-Star. And we should have all seen this coming. This shouldn't even be like a big thing. I'm telling you about it right now because the world has reacted to young Sensei.
Caitlin Clark's rise has truly changed the league's popularity and trajectory for the better. It's hard to argue with numbers. In 2023, A'ja Wilson led all voters with just over 95,000. This year, Clark alone brought in 1.29 million. That's more than 12 times the previous record. These numbers aren't just impressive, they're transformational.
Caitlin Clark earned 1,293,526 votes. That represents an over 12 times increase. That's just one small example. I think you can point out of Caitlin Clark changing the league's popularity and trajectory for the better. Go back to 2023, the leading vote getter was A'ja Wilson with just over 95,000 votes.
The shift is real. You can look at players like Lexi Hall who are now posting vote totals far beyond what anyone saw 2 years ago. That's the Caitlin Clark effect in motion. This is her second All-Star selection, and she's starting again. The votes reflect a fan base that's grown dramatically and shifted league attention in a way never seen before.
And you can look up and down all the ballots that have already come in thus far and just see, you know, someone like Lexi Hall is smoking those totals from 2 years ago that were really quite, you know, embarrassing in one sense. Of course, this is Caitlin Clark's second All-Star game. She's going to be starting for the second time, which is great.
Her impact goes beyond the league. Clark's move to Indiana Fever is inspiring a new generation. Youth basketball participation is rising in Indiana, with parents and kids hoping to be the next C22. This influence can't be measured just in stats. It's shaping the future of women's sports in real time.
Youth basketball leagues in Indiana are also seeing higher participation rates since Caitlin Clark moved to the Indiana Fever. So this is also the C22 effect. You know, like, just think about the amount of parents. I'm telling y'all right now, this is what's happening right now that we're not going to be able to see. But Caitlin Clark is making parents, not only making parents, but making kids want to pursue the professional sports. Women, little girls. I'm pretty sure there are parents right now, once the baby's born, they're buying basketball gifts. Like, everybody's going to try to make the next C22. I'm telling y'all right now, this is what's happening. Y'all going to see it in the next 15 to 20 years.
This all-star captaincy wasn't a surprise. People expected Clark to lead the votes, and the CCFC fan base delivered. Anytime Nafisa started catching up, Clark's fans rallied and dominated again. That's the difference she makes when she shows up. The entire voting landscape shifts around her.
Honestly, this was something that we clearly expected, but it's just cool to see the difference in the voting. We're going to get into the numbers real soon. Caitlin Clark effect in full effect. Y'all remember her and Nafisa Collier was only about 100,000 votes apart. And like I said in that video, I said I have no worries about Caitlin Clark running away with it, because the minute it feels like Fee is getting too close, the CCFC is just going to stand up and dominate.
The WNBA officially announced Caitlin Clark as an All-Star captain, and she did it by receiving more than 1.29 million votes. That's not just a lead, it's domination. Compared to 2023, where the top vote getter had only 95,000 votes, this is historic. Clark's rise is more than performance. It's about presence, energy, and making the All-Star event feel big again. With Clark starting and captaining the game, this could be one of the most anticipated All-Star matchups in WNBA history.
2025 WNBA All-Star Game captains have been announced. They are none other than Caitlin Clark, your leading vote getter, and Nafisa Collier, who will be a captain for the first time in her career. Those two coming off great seasons thus far. Collier, presumably the MVP favorite so far. Caitlin Clark, by far the most entertaining and popular player in the league, comes in at number one. And, you know, I think this is going to be the first of many. I think there's a hell of an accomplishment for both of them. When you compare it to the 2023 All-Stars, we're going to do something that ESPN likes to do in another case. We're going to skip 2024, go back to 2023. The leading vote getter was A'ja Wilson with just over 95,000 votes. Fast forward to 2025, Caitlin Clark earned 1,293,526 votes. That represents an over 12 times increase. That's just one small example. I think you can point out of Caitlin Clark changing the league's popularity and trajectory for the better.
Both Clark and Nafisa Collier were voted in as captains, a well-deserved nod to the league's top performing and most impactful players. Despite an up and down season, Clark remained the league's most popular figure. The fan voting made that clear. With the game taking place in Indianapolis, the energy around this year's All-Star celebration is expected to be electric. Clark isn't just playing, she's the centerpiece of the entire weekend.
So the two best players in the WNBA, at least to me, are all-star captains. That being Caitlin Clark and Nafisa Collier. Of course, Clark, Indiana Fever superstar. Collier, star of the Lynx, who is having an MVP season. Clark has had a little bit of an up and down season for her, relatively speaking, because she's been in and out of the lineup. Collier did miss a few games with a back issue as well. And of course, Clark had the shooting slump before she went out with the latest injury. Don't know how much that was related or is related, but Clark's impact on the floor is apparent when you see her there and when you see her off, and her numbers are still awesome. Not to mention, she's by far the most popular player in the league, and this is decided by fan voting, and it makes you feel good about what the exhibition can be in Indianapolis, because I think the newfound eyes on the league have seen how good a player like Collier is, and of course, Caitlin Clark was going to be the headliner with the All-Star game taking place in Indianapolis.
When the announcement came that Clark was named a captain, fans weren't shocked, they were ready. From media outlets to online forums, everyone knew she'd dominate the voting. And with the all-star selection format allowing captains to draft their teams, the excitement only grew. There's buzz about whether Clark will team up with Aaliyah Boston again. If so, we might see a fever-stacked lineup face off against a veteran squad, setting up a fun, competitive spectacle.
Caitlin Clark will be picking Aaliyah Boston with her first overall pick. It's going to be really interesting to see how this breaks up, so we can see, what kind of alliances there are in the league, if any, what kind of future team-ups this could set up, and who really makes it.
Is that they will be picking teams amongst the all-star pool. How were they selected captains? Well, they were selected captains by being amongst the starters receiving the most fan votes.
If Caitlin just goes and takes the young crew, and if Fee just takes the older players, that would be a funny.
The Caitlin Clark effect is real, and it's already impacting how the all-star rosters shape up. She's pulling massive attention from media and fans alike. When Collier got too close in the votes, Clark's fan base turned up and pushed her back ahead. It's this kind of dynamic that's keeping people engaged. Add in her monster performances this season, like a 32-point, 9-assist game, and there's no doubt why the all-star spotlight is centered on her.
Everybody knows Caitlin is not someone that moves the needle. She is the needle. And one of the great things is that the actual best player so far this season has been the other team's captain. And by the way, if Fee Collier is healthy for the rest of the year, she's winning MVP.
32 points, 9 assists, 7 3-pointers made, and this was when she went bonkers against the New York Liberty.
Caitlin Clark and Nafisa Collier are now officially the two all-star captains. Clark may have had an up-and-down season with some injuries and shooting slumps, but there's no denying her on-court presence and fan appeal. Even when she's not playing, the crowd and TV numbers prove how powerful her brand is. That's exactly why this year's All-Star Weekend, especially with Clark playing in Indianapolis, is expected to be the most exciting one yet.
Of course, Clark, Indiana Fever superstar. Collier, star of the Lynx, who is having an MVP season. Clark has had a little bit of an up and down season for her, relatively speaking, because she's been in and out of the lineup. Collier did miss a few games with a back issue as well. And of course, Clark had the shooting slump before she went out with the latest injury. Don't know how much that was related or is related, but Clark's impact on the floor is apparent when you see her there and when you see her off, and her numbers are still awesome. Not to mention, she's by far the most popular player in the league, and this is decided by fan voting, and it makes you feel good about what the exhibition can be in Indianapolis, because I think the newfound eyes on the league have seen how good a player like Collier is, and of course, Caitlin Clark was going to be the headliner with the All-Star game taking place in Indianapolis.
The All-Star Game isn't just a showcase anymore this year. It feels like a celebration of the Caitlin Clark era. With the game being held in her home city and her captain status already confirmed, fans are anticipating a powerful weekend. Whether Clark's team includes names like Aaliyah Boston or other Fever stars, it will bring a new level of drama, fun, and WNBA relevance. People are buzzing about the captain draft, and all eyes will be on Clark as she builds her dream team.
And then when they are captains, they choose back and forth. And of course, there are going to be a lot of members of the Fever on that team if the early voting returns say anything. So there will be a chance for Caitlin Clark to, say, select Aaliyah Boston. The kind of drama we hope to see going forward in the remainder of the season, rather than dealing with everything that's happened so far and any possible injury.
Caitlin Clark earned 1,293,526 votes.
Beyond the basketball, Clark's presence is also front and center in branding. Her Nike ad was just unveiled on the JW Marriott ahead of the All-Star Weekend, the biggest billboard yet on that building. She also dropped a new Nike commercial this week tied to the Kobe Pro PE, sending fans into a frenzy. Add in the social buzz around her record-breaking assists and scoring, and it's clear this weekend isn't just about playing, it's a marketing and cultural moment for the WNBA.
Caitlin Clark's Nike ad is taking shape on a JW Marriott ahead of the WNBA All-Star Weekend. Shout out to Claire for taking this picture. This is so fire. And I'm pretty sure somebody in my comments said there's never been a sign this big on this building. This is going to be a huge advertisement. By the way, Caitlin Clark's Nike ad, her commercial dropped today for her Kobe Pro Dros. But we know we getting Caitlin shoes this year for sure, though. So that's the good part. You got drafts saying Caitlin Clark received 1,293,526 All-Star votes from the fans. We really got her over 1 million. And then StatMuse coming with the Caitlin Clark fun fact, saying Caitlin Clark with the most 20-point, 10-assist games in the WNBA's oh no, they're just saying most 20-point, 10-assist games in the WNBA players' first 2 seasons. Caitlin has 10. Every other player in WNBA history combined has the same amount.
The excitement around the game is huge, but so are the questions about Clark's health. There's speculation about whether she'll play or just participate in all-star activities. Some fans are hoping for a 3-point shootout appearance, even if she doesn't play full minutes. Others suggest she be featured in a halftime show or skills challenge if her groin injury isn't fully healed. Either way, fans just want her there. Her presence is now the heartbeat of WNBA buzz.
Is she playing? Like, she's at practice, by the way. Like, that is one big thing, is that she's wearing shorts, but she's wearing like compression. So I'd say maybe she's kind of easing it into practice. I think there is a shot she plays in this game. Or at least there's a shot she comes back early before the All-Star break. So maybe the injury isn't... To be fair, I think the scan... They would have said something. I think the scans probably showed up negative. And it could be any... Like, the groin stuff could be anything. It could be anything from a pinched nerve, from just a weird kind of reaction to tightness. And if nothing's showing up on... If she's we're going through a stretching routine and there's no major tightness and nothing showing up on a scan, I would be probably leaning towards there being a pinched nerve problem.
All-Star Caitlin is in the building. Everybody makes some noise. She's been through a lot this year, but she's still here as your All-Star captain. Let's celebrate C22. The WNBA just dropped this news. Caitlin Clark received the most votes again, and the 2025 All-Star Game is officially set. It's going to be a lit situation in Indy. Caitlin Clark isn't just part of the league, she's changing the league. From less than 100,000 votes to 1.2 million. This is history. This is the moment. No matter what critics say, one thing's clear, the fans have spoken loud and proud. Caitlin Clark made WNBA history today, and this is just the beginning.
All-Star Caitlin is in the building. Everybody make some noise. Listen, Caitlin Clark, she's been dealing with a lot of injuries this year on a serious note, but she's an All-Star captain alongside Nafisa Collier, so let's make some noise for C22.
The leading vote getter was Asia Wilson with just over 95,000 votes. Fast forward to 2025, Caitlin Clark earned 1,293,526 votes.
She's out there getting 1.29 million votes, because I understand, look, people are going to say, yeah, it's all the double voting and everything, but there was double voting back then. There's double voting in the NBA. They just try to encourage people to vote no matter what.
The WNBA actually dropped this information about 5 minutes ago on their X account, letting the world know that Caitlin Clark has received the most votes and the stage is set for the 2025 WNBA All-Star Game. And I'm here to tell you, your boy John Liquidator is going to be in the building for sure at this game. It is going to be a lit situation in Indy, home of the Indiana Fever.
Put down in the comments what you guys think about the All-Star voting. What do you think about Caitlin Clark's Nike commercial? Let me know what you're thinking. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and share that.